Hi, this is Paul from the Rant Supply podcast. This is just going to be a really brief touching point here about, I'm going to go right after the gun control issue and a few other things really quick. First things first, the gun control push that's been happening over the last week or so, a couple weeks, is missing a key component, which is how will this help? How will additional laws, additional gun control help? How will it prevent these school shootings, massacres from happening? How will it prevent the loss of life? How is this going to improve our security as a nation? How is it going to protect our children? And I have yet to hear from those in favor of further gun control how that is going to happen. I can tell you the argument from those who are on the side of gun rights, that the explanation for how increasing the number of guns that are being held by law-abiding citizens can effectively decrease the loss of life, and that is that you have a counterbalance to people who are looking to hurt other people. You need people who are looking to protect other people. When you have a police department, and I'm not saying that I don't know who did what, but something happened, something was wrong at the Florida shooting. When you have deputies that are standing outside of the building, not going in and confronting the shooter, that is wrong. That is, however that worked out, that is a problem. That is something that those on the right, as it were, or there are plenty of people on the left, generally speaking, who support the Second Amendment. The reason they support the Second Amendment is because it is a protection. It is a protection for people. You do not have to be a gun-toting, racial slur-spewing redneck to support gun rights. The reason why that particular stereotype has been put forth is because those who are not in favor of gun rights need to demonize, need to reduce what people are to simplistic terms that are easy to despise, easy to look down on, easy to hate. That's the type of language that has happened in the United States, where we have two sides that are continually at odds over certain issues. And what do? Because of the fact that they want to win people over, and they know that a lot of people just simply don't want to do their homework. They don't want to ask questions. They don't want to look into what will happen if this, what will happen if that, and what is the right answer. So they make it simple. They bring emotional, non-factual issues into play. Whether or not what they're saying has any merit or holds any weight, it doesn't matter, because if you are not in support of banning guns, this is of course at the extreme with certain people, then you are for killing children. It is the dumbest argument that someone could possibly make. Simple fact is that there are people who believe that if you reduce guns, you are going to reduce the occurrence of mass shootings. There are people like me who do not believe that that is the case. There is a bill proposed in the Minnesota legislature and I am a Minnesotan, so this affects not just me, but affects people that I know very well. And I think that it is something that needs to be looked at not just by Minnesotans, but by people in the nation, to see just to what extent some of these representatives are willing to go. I believe this is Rick Nolan who proposed this. He may, or I may or may not be correct about that. He may not have proposed this bill, but he certainly backs it. And some of the things in this bill talk about having to have every gun in circulation registered, every gun that someone owns registered, whether it's a hunting rifle or a shotgun or whatever. And more importantly, this is the extreme portion of it. This is something that people need to look at. They need to think about, and they need to consider, is this something that we want to do? Because this bill calls for warrantless searches of gun owners' homes, safety checks, as it were. These are called safety checks. A warrantless search by law enforcement is the only real explicitly prohibited thing in the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy, it's vague at best. When you look at the internet privacy thing, people like to bring up the Fourth Amendment issue, but it's not. It's arguable one way or the other. I believe that the freedom, right to privacy is right to privacy, that everyone should have and fight for the right to privacy. It's not about whether you have anything to hide. It's about whether or not you believe that the government is your master. If you believe that the government is your daddy and that they can look through all of your toys and your diary and everything else, then that's fine. You can believe that. You have the right to believe that. However, if you believe that you are wise enough to state that the government should have the right to look into my diary and my toys, then I'm sorry, but I believe that you're overestimating your wisdom to make this decision for other people. There are a lot of gun owners in the United States. There are more guns in the United States than there are people. Now, most of these guns never get used for malicious means. A lot of guns just sit around and they don't do anything because people collect them and they shoot them sometimes. But the amount of guns that are used in the taking of human life versus the amount of guns that exist in this nation is an astronomical difference. I'm not going to try to guess at the numbers. I've seen the numbers, but I'm not going to try to guess at them right now or recall something that I don't think is actually the point. The point is quite simple. Anything is a tool. Anything that you use for any purpose is a tool. You don't outlaw tools for actions. It doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. It's the same idea as outlawing a computer to reduce the occurrence of child porn. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, guns take lives. Guns also take the lives of those who are looking to take lives. Guns also protect people. Now, you can say that is the job of the police, or that is the job of this or that. Well, they failed. They've continuously failed in many, many instances. And I'm not saying that it's their fault. What I'm saying is that you have a situation, whenever you have a school shooting, you have a situation in which time is absolutely of the essence. Time is an incredibly important factor in whether or not you are going to be saving lives, protecting life. And there is too much of a delay between an occurrence and police being able to arrive. That is, of course, if someone is able to contact them. The Donald Trump approach and the approach of numerous people on the side of gun rights is simply this: that if you arm people in these situations that can respond to someone attempting to do something like this because they are on site and they are armed, you are at that point providing a situation where in a critical moment you have a chance. We are not going to have police walking through schools all over the country. I don't believe that that's the right choice. I don't believe that that's something that that is going to be terribly effective. What we need as a nation, as a group of people, as a civilization, we need to understand that the people that we have, that have been hired, that have been chosen to protect us, can't always protect us. We as a people need to stand up for ourselves, stand up for the people that are vulnerable. Assuming that people who have a difference of opinion is the equivalent of those people being evil or having a difference of opinion for outcome it's a childish viewpoint. It's an incredibly oversimplified viewpoint that frees you from having to do any actual critical thinking. If you were to do any critical thinking, you would have to look at the situation of, okay, what is the reasoning behind this? What is the justification, the logic for this viewpoint? And does it hold merit? Does it hold weight? Is this something that would actually work? And if so, then it's something that should be considered. And if not, then once you've done your critical thinking and you've done your part and you've been responsible and looked into it and considered it and stated, well, this is why it won't work, then you have the ability and the tools to defend your point of view. But saying that the NRA has the blood of children on its hands is a stupid thing to say. It's not anything other than stupid, because the NRA is simply doing what the NRA was created to do, looking to defend a constitutional right of the people, and looking to defend that constitutional right against further decay and withering caused by legislation. That is what they are there for. Whether or not guns are legal is not going to stop those who want to take lives from taking lives. Either they will find guns or they will find another means to do so. This kid in Florida, he was begging for help. He reached out so many times, it was ridiculous. There was a failure here of epic proportions. I won't claim who the failure was by. I don't particularly care. What I don't want to see, and what I think a lot of people don't want to see, is additional failures based upon an emotional response that lacks any thorough scrutiny. We have to ask questions. As a people, we have to ask questions. We have to be able to be honest about what those questions yield for answers, and then we act accordingly. We change our position if our position is wrong. That's what has to happen. When you have people who are diehard left or diehard right, you see it's not just a hesitation to do this, it's an absolute vehement denial of a need for this. The first step to improving this country, improving this world, improving the relationships between black, white, man, woman, everything like that, is to be honest. And we have to be honest about things. We can't take rhetoric that is unproven and is based upon societal feelings and claim that that has the same power to persuade as fact, because it doesn't. Fact is what we have to rely on, because if you're able to prove something, then you prove that it's an issue. Check out QAnon. Check out every source that you can find. If you rely on CNN, you're in a hard position. If you rely on Fox News, you're in a hard position. Look for your sources. Do some questioning. Ask questions by yourself. You don't need anybody to steer you in this direction or that. Take it easy. Listen to the Rant Supply. Thank you much, guys.